Yes, okay. So today is the day 4 and today we are going to take an introduction to CSS. Okay, so what is CSS and what is the history of CSS? Okay, so this we are going to do today. So first of all, let us revise what we have done yesterday. Okay, so let me share my screen and I will also tell you the effective way to learn website development. Okay, so let me start with the effective way to learn website development. Okay, so the most effective way is by doing projects. Okay, by creating projects, as most of the developers create projects and learn. Okay, as I have learned. Okay, so I have created many of the projects, as I created my portfolio, Dev Outlook's website, and I have created many. Okay, so that how we learn website development. Okay, any of the thing we learn likewise. Okay, as you want to do, as you want to create your portfolio. Okay, so what all technologies you need, so prepare that first. Okay, if you want to create your portfolio, then learn HTML, then learn CSS. What is the important thing for that? Okay, means responsiveness. Okay, so that all stuff you should learn. Okay, for that creating portfolio. Okay, so that is the important tip for today. Okay, so that is the effective way to learn website development. So let's revise what we have done yesterday. Okay, so in the day 3 we have differentiated tags and elements in HTML. Okay, and we have also learned what is attributes in HTML. Okay, so the first slide was about what is a tag. Okay, so tags are like keywords which helps the web browser to differentiate between HTML content and the simple content. Okay, means like text, images. Okay, so that tags helps the web browser to differentiate between simple tags, I mean simple text, and HTML text. Okay, so that is about tags, and tags are enclosed in opening and closing tags. Okay, means this brackets. Okay, less than bracket and greater than bracket, and in the middle of that brackets there is the content, means the tag name. Okay, and the closing tag has a forward slash, okay, before the tag name. So but some of the tags are self-ending tags. Okay, we can also call them unclosing tag. Okay, unclosed tags. When a web browser reads an HTML document, it reads from top to bottom and left to right. Okay, so HTML elements, different tags, different HTML elements and tags have different properties. Okay, so that is also a point which you have learned yesterday. And okay, so each HTML file should have a single tag to differentiate between HTML content and simple content. Okay, means like text, images. Okay, and also you can use as many tags as you want. Okay, there is no limited tags. Okay, so many of the tags you can use in HTML document to create your website. Okay, and the rules for creating tags are all HTML tag must enclosed within greater than and I mean less than and greater than brackets. Okay, so this wraps the tag name. Okay, this wraps the tag. Okay, so the second point is every tag in HTML performs different tasks. Okay, so every tag in the HTML performs different tasks, or we can say different functionalities. Okay, and the third point was if you have used an open tag, means this tag, then you must use a closed tag. Okay, means this tag, and remember that there is a forward slash before the tag name. Okay, so that is the important thing that everyone forgets. Okay, except some tags. Okay, except unclosing tags, means we can say self-closing tags. Okay, and the next slide was about example of tags. Okay, so these are some example of tags. These are normal tags. Sorry, these are normal tags, and these are unclosed tag, means self-closing tag. And there is a list of tags in this website. Just a minute. Okay, so in this website there is a list of tags. Okay, so yesterday I told you on this website you can see many of the tags listed there, and the fourth slide was about what is an element. Okay, so element is the mixture of the starting tag, the closing tag, the content and attributes. Okay, the attributes we'll learn in the sixth slide. Okay, so an element is the mixture of tag name, means starting tag, and then the ending tag, and then the content inserted, also with attribute also. Okay, and the content is between these tags and attribute is in this tag. Okay, in the starting tag. Okay, so technically an element is a collection of start tag, attributes, end tag and content between them. Okay, so this is the element. Okay, we can say this together makes an element. Okay, and remember that ending tag has a forward slash between the tag name, before the tag, I'm sorry. Okay, so here you have to remember that there is a forward slash. Okay, this is, the HTML language is very simple and very logical to understand, but it needs some memorization and concept understanding. Okay, so the element is the mixture of starting tag, closing tag and then the content and also attributes. Okay, and a tag is the mixture of less than bracket, then the tag name and then the greater than bracket. Okay, and the closing tag have forward slash before the tag name. Okay, so this is the logical. Okay, means we can just memorize it and make the concept of that. Okay, so this is how the developers learn. Okay, so this is the element structure of simple element structure. Okay, we can say, so here we have taken an example of paragraph element. Okay, so let's see another slide which is of note, and the first note is some of the elements are not having closing tag, so they are called self closing tag. Okay, so this is the note which we have seen here in the what is the tag slide. Again, the second one is there is one more term in tags and elements, that is attributes. Okay, so this is we are going to learn in sixth slide. So let's start. What is an attribute? Okay, so the first point is HTML attributes are special words which provide additional information about the elements, or attributes are the modifier of the HTML element. Okay, so HTML attributes provide some basic additional information. Okay, not basic, from basic to advanced. Okay, means we can add the information from basic to advanced, means like giving the width and height to an image, and also we can say giving the source of image and iframe tag. Okay, we can say element. So that is the basic attribute. Okay, so or also we can say that attributes modify the element. Okay, so that also we can say. And the second point is each element or tag can have attributes which defines the behavior of that element. Okay, so each element and tag in the HTML language can have attributes. Okay, and we can modify them. Okay, so that is given in the second point. Now the third point is attributes should always be applied with starting tag. Okay, so this I told you in this. Okay, in this what is an element slide. So every attribute should be applied in the starting tag. Okay, and the self closing tag, where to apply it. So in the self closing tag we can see here, in the self closing tag we can apply an attribute here. Okay, attr. Okay, so we can apply attribute here. Okay, so this was for example. Let's move to fourth point. So the fourth point is the attribute should always be applied with its name and value pair. Okay, so the attribute is a mixture of the name and the value pair. Okay, so these two makes an attribute. Okay, so the name is the attribute name. Okay, and the value is what value we are giving to that attribute. Okay, and the fifth point is the attribute name and value are case sensitive, and it is recommended by W3C that it should be written in lowercase only. Okay, so both value and name of the attribute are case sensitive. Okay, means if we given the upper letter value, then it will not be considered in HTML language. Okay, so this is called case sensitive. Okay, means if we given source as anything else, means we have to give that tree.png. Okay, and we written tree.png. Okay, tree.png, then it is not considered. Okay, So this is called case sensitiveness, and it is recommended by W3C. The full form of W3C is World Wide Web Consortium. Okay, uh, it is recommended by W3C that the we should write the name and value pair in lowercase only. Okay, just a minute. Okay, and the last sixth point is, you can add multiple attributes in one HTML element but need to give space between two attributes. Okay, so in an element we can add as many attributes we can, okay, as we can. So there is no limit to add attributes, but there are limited attributes. Okay, so there is not limit to add attributes, but there are limited attributes. Okay, did you got it? And here is the example of attributes. Here are some examples, and this link is link has provided for the list of attributes. Okay, so this is the link where all attributes are listed. Okay, and this was all about the last lecture, which was day 3 lecture, which was yesterday's lecture. Okay, so let us move today for today's lecture. So today we will be seeing introduction to HTML, introduction to CSS. Okay, so there is any doubt in yesterday's lecture, in the day 3 lecture? No, anybody else? Anybody else, please? Anyone having any doubt? If any, then don't hesitate to tell me. Okay. Okay, let's move on to day 4 lecture. Okay, means today's lecture. So today we are going to take an introduction to CSS. Okay, so CSS, the full form of CSS is Cascading Style Sheet, and as it named, so it is used for styling the website. Okay, so the first slide is about what is CSS. Okay, so CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet, and it is the language for describing the presentation of web pages, including colors, layout, and fonts, thus making our web page presentable and to the user. CSS is designed to make style sheet for the web. Okay, so the full form of CSS is Cascading Style Sheet. Okay, and it is the language which helps us to present a beautiful website to the users, or we can say to the clients. Okay, and CSS is used to make style sheet for the website. Okay, style sheet means the styling file. Okay, means we can code there and it will convert it into the design format. Okay, the HTML converts into the text format and CSS converts the HTML file into the design format. Okay, so this is very confusing part. Okay, so this is also very logical, as HTML just describes the skeleton of the web page. Okay, so it just puts the text in the website. Okay, and CSS just styles the HTML content. Okay, so that is the logical question. Okay, and the next part is, it is independent of HTML and can be used with any XML based markup language. Now let's see the meaning of CSS. Okay, so it is independent from HTML, and it can be used in any language like XML. Okay, XML based markup language. XML full form is extensible markup language. So this is also a language used for designing. Okay, so this is used for designing and this is used for adding text. Okay, so let's see the meaning of CSS. So cascading meaning is falling of styles, and style meaning is adding design or styling our HTML tags, and then the sheets meaning is writing our style in different document. Okay, so here the meaning of the CSS is that we are styling our HTML tags and elements in a document, in a particular document. Okay, and this falling of styles is also similar like adding designs or styles. Okay, so that is about this slide, and the third slide is about history of CSS. So history of, okay, just a minute, history of CSS, and let's see the history of CSS. So CSS was first proposed by Hakon VM Lie. Okay, Hakon VM Lie. Okay, so this is the name who created CSS. Okay, on October 10, 1994. At that time, Lie was working with Tim Berners-Lee at CERN. Okay, several other style sheet languages for the web were proposed around the same time. Okay, so CSS was proposed by Hakon VM Lie on 10th October 1994. Okay, so that was the first time when CSS was released. Okay, and at that time, this man Hakon VM Lie, he was working with Tim Berners-Lee at CERN. Okay, so we have seen that Sir Tim Berners-Lee was a CERN physicist. Okay, so I don't know the full form of CERN, so you can check it on Google. Okay, so several other style sheet languages for the web were proposed at the same time. Okay, means with the Hakon VM Lie, several other developers proposed the style sheet languages. Okay, so let's see the version history of CSS. So the first one is 1994. In 1994, first proposed by Hakon VM Lie on 10th October. Okay, so in 1994, in 10th October 1994, the CSS was firstly introduced by Hakon VM Lie. Okay, and then in 1996, CSS was published on 17th November with influencer Bert Boss. Okay, so CSS was published on 17 November 1996. Okay, with influencer Bert Boss. Okay, so with him, with the with the person named Bert Boss. Okay, the CSS was published on 17th November 1996. Okay, so these dates are not important. I am telling this for the interesting topics. Okay, means you will be excited to know these things. Okay, so for that thing I am telling you this all. Okay, and then the third point is later he became co-author of CSS. Okay, so this Bert Boss became the co-author of CSS, and in 1996 CSS became official with CSS was published in December. Okay, so CSS was became official for website. Okay, in 1996, and it was republished in December. Okay, so the fifth point is in 1997 they created the level 2 of CSS on 4th November 1997. Okay, so the level 2 of CSS was released on 4th October 1997. Okay, and then the sixth point is in 1998 the second level of CSS was published. Okay, on 12th May 1998. Okay, so let's see another slide which is of syntax of CSS. Okay, so the syntax is very simple. Okay, so in the syntax we are having only selector and declarations. Okay, so the selector is the tag which we are selecting, or we can say the class name or ID name. Okay, so that we will be learning in the last lecture of this bootcamp, the classes and IDs. Okay, so this is the selector, means which we have to select. Okay, which attribute or which element or which tag we have to select. Okay, so that is about the selector, and the declaration is what stylings we have to give for that element. Okay, for that selector. So here we have given color red. Okay, so the color is called as property. Okay, and the red is called as value. So we can give as much properties as we can. Okay, so in the big websites like Amazon, Flipkart, there is not only this much. Okay, they create the very big stylings. Okay, the very big style sheets that we can say. Okay, so this is the simple styling example of h1 tag. Okay, means heading tag. So this is called property and this is called value, and this is the selector, and this both together creates a declaration. Okay, means property and value creates a declaration, and the combination of selector and declaration is called as the syntax of CSS. Okay, so this syntax of CSS is very simple to learn, and it is very logical. Okay, means firstly we have to put what we have to select, and then we have to just put the curly braces, and then write the property which we want. And properties are also not very difficult, it is also logical. Okay, means if we have to give background color, then background hyphen color, and then colon, and then the value of the color which we have to put. Okay, and this semicolon is to separate each property. Okay, means each declarations. Okay, so that is for the syntax of css, and then we will see how to implement css. Okay, so there are three types to implement css, three ways to implement css, we can say that. So the first one is inline css, then there is internal css, and then the third one is external css. Okay, so the first topic, which is inline css. So the first point is inline css is a way that is applied on a particular tag or an element. Okay, so in the inline css we just apply the stylings to a particular element or tag. Okay, just a minute, sorry. Okay, and the second point is we can apply it to any of the element or on any of tag. Okay, so we can apply inline css to any of the tag or to any of the element. Okay, and let's see the example of inline css. So here we just add inline css. Okay, so this is an h1 element, we can also say h1 tag, this starting tag of h1, and here we have given an attribute named style. Okay, so this is the attribute named style, and we have given the value of color blue. So here is the semicolon to separate the values, means to separate the declaration of that css. Okay, it is also like implementing an external css. Okay, so here as we see in the syntax, so it is very simple, similar like that. Okay, here we are giving the selector and this curly braces, but here we are not giving in the inline css. Okay, here we are giving a attribute named style, then equals, then in the double quotes we just give the value, means which property and value we have to add, so that we give in this value. Okay, so there is any doubt in inline css? Is there any doubt? No, anybody else, please? Please respond, guys. Okay, alright. So let's see internal css. So the first point for internal css is internal css is applied in the head tag. Okay, so internal css means it is inside the html file. Okay, and this inline css is inside the element. Okay, inside the element we give an attribute named style, and the value is about declaration. Okay, and in internal css it is inside the head tag of html document. Okay, means we have seen the syntax of html document in the, I think so, second or first lecture. Okay, so let's see the second point, which is we can just apply it by using by using style element. Okay, so this is the element which we use in the head tag to apply the stylings for elements. Okay, it is like this only. Okay, means we in the style element, okay, in the style element we use this all. Okay, means the selector and the declaration. Okay, so internal and external css are similar, but the inline css is different. Okay, because here we give the styling inline. Okay, means inline the stylings are given. Okay, so that is the difference between inline, internal and external, we'll see in this slide. Okay, and let's see the example of internal css. Okay, so here is the element named style, and I have closed it here, and there is a property and declaration. Okay, so this is the syntax for styling the h1 tag. Okay, we can take any of the tag, we can take p tag, or else we can take dot demo, which is the class. Okay, so that will be learning in the day 6. Okay, I'm telling you this again and again. So here, to give more than two stylings, okay, more than one styling, so here we just go further and write background, background, then color, then colon, and then the value which we want. Okay, so this is the syntax to give one more than one, we can say, property and declaration for for this styling. Okay, so this how we give. Okay, so here we have given color to h1 tag, and this is the background color. Okay, so let's remove this, it is not looking much pretty. Okay, so this is looking good. Okay, so we can just write that here, we can just put enter, and then here also we can hit enter and then write background color. Okay, so that I will tell you in the last lecture of this bootcamp. Okay, so all the indentation and styling I will tell you in the day 6 of the bootcamp. Okay, so this is the internal CSS, and the last one is external CSS. Okay, so the first point of external CSS is it is the way in which we create a new file for applying CSS. That is why it is called external CSS. Okay, so as it named external, so we create a new file for writing CSS. Okay, so that is why it is called external. Okay, so we create a file with an extension of .css, and for HTML we give an extension of .html or .htm. Okay, so this is the extensions of HTML file and CSS file. Okay, so we give the extension only for the external CSS because we create a different file for that CSS. Okay, so the first point is clear, and then the second point is we need to link it inside of the head element in HTML. Then we are ready to apply CSS. Okay, so sorry, so we link the CSS style sheet file to the head tag of the HTML document. Okay, so there will link the CSS style sheet file. Okay, that we'll see in the day 6 lecture. At that time we are going to create a project, means we are going to style the website which we created in the last bootcamp. Okay, so let's see the third point, that it is the most suggested way to apply CSS. Okay, so the external CSS is the most suggested way, means it is the very popular way to add CSS because it gives us more space and it gives the perfect indentation, and also we can keep separate CSS and separate we can keep separate file for CSS and separate file for HTML. Okay, so is there any doubt in this lecture? Is there any doubt? Hello, is there any doubt? No. Okay, alright. So this was all about this lecture. So thank you for attending this lecture.